Guys, welcome back to another week of Mortgage Matters in Minutes. I'm your host and owner of Mortgage Specialist Brent Rasmussen. So today we're going to get right into the topic here to discuss what is my maximum pre-approved home price. And there's a lot of industry lingo in there, and these are the calls that we get nearly each and every day. People are working with their realtor or talking to a real estate agent, and that agent is asking them, what kind of home can you afford? What kind of a price of a home can you afford? And they refer them over to a lender like us that can actually calculate this to give them an explanation of what prices of homes should they be looking at. The biggest thing that we want to ensure clients of is, can they afford the payment and do they like the payment? And those are two different answers here of what the maximum pre-approved is. Some people like to win the game and show their friends and their family that they can get pre-approved to a home price that's way out of their price level to show people I can afford $1 million home or a $5 million home or a $500,000 home, whatever they're looking for. We as lenders don't like to look at it that way. We like to look at it as, hey, what do you want your payment to be in what budget for you in your life? Because if you're looking and getting into a home and you outstretch your budget, it's not going to take you long before we get into an economy that might not be perfect, that all of a sudden you run into having mortgage payment problems. So the first point we're going to make here is that lenders don't look at the home price whatsoever. We don't care if the home is priced $10 million or $10,000. And why does that make a difference? Because what we pre-approve individuals on is what's called debt to income. We look at your income, and by the rules that exist out there, you can have so much debt, okay? And so why we don't care about the home price, yeah, we can calculate out what the loan payment is, but we don't also know what your down payment is, what the taxes are, what the insurance is, if there's an HOA dues, all those above. So while consumers like to say, hey, I can afford a $300,000 house, well, you might be able to afford a $300,000 house here. But if you go to Colorado, maybe that's a $400,000 or $500,000 house. Or you go to New York, and that's a $600,000 house. Or if you go down to Arkansas, maybe that's a $1 million house. Because we don't care as much about the price of the home, but when you're looking for a realtor, that's what the realtor wants to show you is, can you afford this home price that's for sale at this number? Or is it for sale at that number? So what are we really looking at? When we do a pre-approval, we base it off your debt to income ratio. So what we're looking at is all of your payments, all of your income, and then what your estimate is going to be of that new house. And this is where it gets tricky between lender to lender, and why you might talk to one lender that says you're pre-approved to $300,000 and another lender says you're only approved to $250,000. What we can do is eliminate the variables. If both lenders are looking at the income and both lenders have pulled your credit report, those variables are out the window. We're comparing apples to apples. What we don't know is when we're looking from lender to lender, what are they estimating your property taxes to be? What are they estimating your insurance to be? Because normally when you're doing a pre-approval, you don't have a house picked out yet. You don't have an address picked out yet. We don't always necessarily even know what part of town you're looking at. And that can make a huge difference whether the property taxes on a new house are much higher than a property that's been around for 100 years. Insurance is another factor there, is that maybe this property in a neighborhood had a very high claim history, and this other property over here has no claims in a zip code that doesn't have very expensive insurance. Those are variables we're not going to know. We do our best guess to put a pre-approval together saying, hey, when you're buying a $300,000 home, we feel this is a comfortable payment. Here at Mortgage Specialists, we like to always estimate on the high end side. And I know that makes a struggle for some clients that are pushing their envelope to the highest they can go. But here, I would rather tell someone they can get approved to a price for sure versus, okay, I bought something at $300,000 that you told me I could, but now that property has higher taxes and insurance than we didn't incorporate, and now you no longer qualify. So when you're doing a pre-approval between lender to lender, again, they're estimates. We have factors that we use when we look at insurance or taxes to make sure we're comparing a fair number to give you what an estimate payment is. What makes it much easier is that if you have a home that you're interested in, that narrows down the variable. We can at least look at the property taxes to plug that in to say, okay, now you can afford this home at $310 or $315 or $350 versus us just guesstimating and saying we think you can afford a pre-approved home at 312 or 305. So again, when it comes to a pre-approval, we're having to use estimates. And those estimates for tax and insurance add up to your total payments. And what all lenders look at is a debt to income ratio. And we can say, if you make $10,000 a month, you can probably afford somewhere between $400 to $4,500 in total payments. So if you already have $1,000 in payments, we know then you can afford somewhere between $300 to $3,500 for a house payment. That's how we look at pre-approvals. And we want to convert that pre-approval payment over into a home price. So as you can see, there are some variables here on what we calculate compared to what the real estate agents and you as the consumer might be looking for. But at the end of the day, as long as we're communicating on the same page, explain to you, hey, your pre-approval is an estimate. It's very, very close as an estimate. But if you're pushing it to the very top end of the max you can go, that's where we might see some struggles, and you might not have a loan approval if you found a house that's outside of those estimates that they used. So this is a conversation that you should have with your lender when you receive your pre-approval letter. Hey, is this dollar amount on this pre-approval the maximum I can go? A lot of times here at Mortgage Specialists, we give you a pre-approval based upon what you want your max payment to be. For example, if a consumer can get approved to $600,000, but they're only looking at $300,000 range, we might put it at $350 or $400, a little bit more than they need, but not the top end, because we found, just like anything you shop for, if you give someone the full amount that they can pay, they're going to spend that. Well, that might not be in their best financial interest to do that. So we're looking after the psyche of the client as well, too, to make sure that we're presenting ourselves as a fiduciary individual, helping them with the best financial decisions for them, so they're not getting themselves over their head. And I can tell you a lot of times clients will call and they want to know what the max is and they want to spend the max. Spending the max in your pre-approval letter isn't a good thing. It means you're maxing out your payments in relationship to your income, and that's not always a good thing. So here at Mortgage Specialists, we're here to educate, answer any of your questions, go over the pre-approval to make sure you understand what numbers did we use. Why is this price range beneficial to you? Or maybe it's not, and maybe we need to wait more time or do something differently to make sure that you're able to afford your mortgage payments for the entire life of the loan and not have any financial issues throughout your time. So you can always reach us. We're just a phone call away here at Mortgage Specialists at 402-991-5153, or you can check us out on our website at mtg-specialists.com by Googling Mortgage Specialists LLC. And we'll be here every week giving you education information that will benefit you, the home buyer, or you, the borrower. Have a great day, everyone. Mortgage Specialists. Driven, trusted, reliable.